Hiya. So this is the video for Lush Drops. I'm 83% sure I've already done this video and it has disappeared. But here we are. We're going to do it again. And that's okay. We're going to thread our needle. So it's very, oh shoot! White thread makes this very hard to see. Do I stop and change the thread? No, I don't, because you want to know where the beads go. So we're going with this. This is going to be fun. Threading the needle. We take our thread and we let it slip down between our fingers. We push our needle down on top of it. And that's how I thread my needle every time between my fingers for years and years and years. It also might have been harder for me to see the thread because my glasses weren't on, so now they are. First step, we tie onto our frame with just a nice simple knot. And so your foundation row, you're going to follow your pattern where it shows foundation row. I'm going to show you how to begin that. And then we're going to fast forward a bit. So we start with 2 after our knot. We put our needle through our finding. And I usually push my finger up against the pieces. The piece, fingers, multiple fingers, single piece. Beads were the pieces. That way I have control of the beads. Tangent. Off to the races with the tangents today. We're going to take the thread, that's the tail, and we're sticking it up through the bead that is closest to it. Okay, so you're like that. Now, our thread is underneath the finding from where we're looking. So our thread is going on top of the finding and we're looping around through. So you can see how this anchors it to your piece. Okay, so now that you've done the 2, you start off with 2, you're going to be doing 1 after that. We're going to make sure our tail does not get caught in there as we add 1 at a time. Again, I push my finger up against the back of the finding because I find I can control the beads better. So each time you're grabbing 1 bead based on your foundation row instructions, whichever color comes next, whatever's supposed to happen on your particular pattern. Okay. So I've snugged it up against the other beads there, going up through the bead again to be able to anchor it on there. Make sure my little tail doesn't get in the way. We don't want to cut this tail off early because we need to be in control of it by the time we get back around to the other side, okay? So you're going to continue adding your beads 1 by 1, just like your diagram shows. Pulling it along, up through, da 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 da. Okay, so keep doing this until you get to the other side of your piece. So at the end of the foundation row, I'm going to meet you over here. Okay, so by the magic of television. Does anybody call it television anymore? I don't think so. By the magic of name your beast that you watch this on. Okay, gonna meet you back over here in just a minute. I'm gonna put all these on there. There we go. So we're at the other end. I've got my thread coming out this side, and now what we're gonna do is secure that foundation row. I'm going underneath the thread bridge that is closest to that last bead. I'm gonna pull my thread almost all the way through. Okay, I'm giving that loop a little tug just to make sure that it's pulled nice and tight. And now I'm going to go through the loop. So that's a hitch, okay? So we're just doing a little hitch. So that's nice and snug, okay? So depending on your pattern, your little fringe beads on the edge here, pay attention to your pattern, okay? Is it the 3 little lotus stitch beads, or is it a single bead? So make sure that you're paying attention to whatever your pattern says there for what beads you are putting on during this next step. So on these ones, it is the 3 little lotus bead, little lotus picot kind of looking. So I'm coming out of the last bead, I'm going into my second bead. I've added whatever beads my pattern says, okay? Up through the next bead. So now I'm going back up through bead 3, let's say. Add my little edge beads. Down through bead 4. Up through bead 5. Edge beads. Down through bead 6. Okay. So you do whatever your pattern says for your edging there. My last little edging bit. Now, on the pattern, this next bead, so I've done 5 little lotus, little mini lotus edges, little picot edge along there, okay? Now, here, my next section, I believe I called mini fringe because it's like the teeniest little bit of fringe. It's just a little buddy, okay? Again, whatever your pattern says. But what I mean by mini fringe is you are going to add the beads that it shows on your diagram, skip your last one, and go back through whatever is there. So for this first one, that's what it looks like. I have one more of that. Same kind of setup with 2 beads. Skip the last one, go back through my second one and my foundation row, because we're always anchoring through our foundation row, right? And then when I pull it tight, it looks like a little mini fringe, like a little thingy. Okay. Now on this pattern, I'm on to doing my loops. I'm just going to pull up my pattern. Oh. Okay. I'm correct. Just so you guys know. So I'm picking up the beads in order that it shows. Okay, so on mine, these are my beads. I don't do anything other than just go directly back through my foundation bead because this is going to create that loop. Loop with a capital P at the end. So we've got a little loop there. Cool, hey? So don't worry if it starts to twist around, no panicking. It's okay if it like wants to decide where it's going to be in a minute. Once it has siblings all along here, they'll line up. So again, per my pattern, I'm picking up what beads go in this next loop. And I just go through my foundation bead, okay? And that's my next little loop. I always give them a little tug and just make sure I'm okay with how they're sitting. As far as like this, how this little loop looks. See how my little loop looks? I like it. So this is how you do this. This is the Lush Drop, I believe I've called these. Just because it looks like nice and yummy and lush when they're all looped like that. So again, got my beads. Go back down through the foundation row that the same one I came out of. And you create your little loop. Okay? So you follow your pattern and go around the rest of this. Okay? So on this particular Lush Drop pattern, they get bigger and bigger. The 2 center ones are the same, and then they get smaller. And then we do our edging again. Okay? So I will meet you back at this other side for when we tie it off. See you in a minute. Okay. So we are putting on our last little bit of edging here. This is why this tail being here is important, because it helps have more maneuverability and flexibility with when you are adding these, that you don't get caught up in the knot that is sitting inside of your bead, okay? And you don't have this slide back inside and this foundation row start to get all loose. You want to make sure you have hold of that. So I've gone down through my last bead to finish off my little edging, okay? I'm going back up through the second bead. This is how we're going to tie it off. So I'm back up through the second bead, and I'm going to go under my thread bridge that is between those two beads. So I'm between the second and third bead under my thread bridge. I'm going to pull it back till it's a little loop and go through it. Careful not to catch any beads. Wiggle it back and forth so it's nice and tight. That's it. That is all. Trim off your little threads. Fingers crossed. And that's it. So these are our Lush Drop earrings. At this point, you attach your ear hooks. When you get them, your ear hooks will already be attached. So you are going to pretend like this part is not happening in front of your eyes, that this part is already on there. Because when you receive it, it will be. Those are our Lush Drops. These ones are awesome and fiery. Nice and metallic. A little bit of fire that we need these days. All right, hope that helped. See ya. You can find the patterns to make your own with your own beads or the kits in the shop. Oh, dang it. Okay, anyway, bye.